Social Media Market is a blockchain project that is making an efficient, transparent, and distributed marketplace for influencers and brands. Last year, over 75 billion was spent on digital marketing alone. But the marketplace is getting really noisy. ROIs on search and display advertising are barely squeaking out of the red. More recently, content marketing has been showing some promise, but a deluge of content is now busy crowding out that space. The one area that's showing a lot of momentum has been the emerging field of influencer marketing. Now, according to some research done by Shopify, the e-commerce guys, half of all time spent online is now spent on social media. And more than 75% of all consumers rely on social media for purchase decisions and peer recommendations. Nobody's thinking for themselves. Along with all this activity on social media, it's no surprise that certain people have emerged as influencers in every category imaginable. Some have huge, broad follower bases like the YouTube stars. Some go narrow and deep into specific verticals. But unfortunately, running an influencer campaign in 2018 is still really challenging. It's time-consuming. It's hard to find the right influencers. It's hard to know how to engage them. It's hard to keep track of what they're doing. And it's tough to know how to price their value. As you can imagine, there are commonly disputes and disagreements. This set of challenges has made influencer marketing kind of limited to the big brands with big budgets who can afford to pay all the middlemen who have to do legwork and manual work to get things done. They also tend to work with less influencers just because it's harder. So they pick the ones that with a big following basis. Now, obviously that sort of makes sense, but they also miss out by not going broad. They miss out on a lot of niche players we refer to as micro-influencers who have a lot of it, even more influence on their specific niches. Now, just to back up a little, ICOs generally are coming at us hard and fast these days, and it's really hard to separate the wheat from the chaff. I personally put a lot of stock into the founding team, and this team, Dimitri and Alexandra, have already spent a few years on this project and both have a lot of experience dealing with big brands, mainly in the esports and gaming industries, both tough competitive industries. They've also worked together before, many years before this project, along with Maxim and a number of their team members. I really like to see that continuity because it shows they've all worked out a pattern and they work together. There's no risk, there's no team risk there. Now, in a large percentage of blockchain projects, they don't necessarily make any sense being on the blockchain, or at least being on the blockchain doesn't necessarily put them into a position where they're going to beat out their incumbents. For this project, with influencer marketing, I kind of feel that different for a number of reasons. Firstly, the use of a token like the SMT, their social media token, handles the whole issue of disputes and payment and disagreements through smart contracts. A lot of standardization can be done there. You can imagine how easy it is to disagree. Brands are commercial beasts. Influencers have followers and they don't want to be seen as overly commercial. There's a fine balance that has to be struck. Another big solve for this idea is identity verification. The industry has been somewhat plagued by bad actors pretending to be people that they're not or stealing identities. Knowing who you're dealing with and being able to trust the transactions that have been written to the blockchain and are public knowledge is huge. It really, really does open up this market to a much bigger, broader, better trusted marketplace. Now, obviously teams need to execute. And I always get nervous when I see teams who don't have a product or at least a beta. Now with these guys, they've done more than that. They've got a fully working beta. It's been out there for a while. And the reason they're doing their ICO is really just to raise money to continue to work on the platform. I like to see that, and I expect to see that. Now all they're good signs, don't get me wrong, but they're not without risk. Building a big idea takes time. Things will go wrong for sure, and there's going to be times when mountains need to get moved to fix those problems. All we can do at this juncture is to look at what's in front of us. Is the idea big enough? Does the team have the talent and the perseverance to prevail? I personally feel quite confident about this team, which is why I'm getting involved in the project. But that said, you should do your own research. Read the white paper. Research the challenges of the influencer marketplace online. Check it out. Google's your friend. Make informed decisions. Now, I'm a true believer in the opportunities afforded by the blockchain movement, don't get me wrong. But many of those projects are going to fail. Many are going to fail. If you remember what happened with the first round of internet companies, many did fail, but the ones that survived became huge. And I think the same goes for this blockchain movement too. There's going to be some survivors and they're going to do really well. So I want to encourage you to do your own research, read the white paper, and invest your money wisely. Thank you.